Cocaine Bear, a drug smuggler and the very real story behind it all. Thornton too, whose life was once filled with privilege and promise, decided that now was the time to parachute from a twin-engine plane in the dead of night to smuggle the $15 million worth of Colombian cocaine that was strapped to his body into the United States. Choose your plan. Arrow. A Kentucky blue blood who had been a narcotics officer, Thornton thought he had found his calling as the leader of a local drug smuggling ring. But when Thornton opened his parachute too late on September. Before Thornton fell from the sky and realized what author Sally Denton described as the dark side of the American dream in an article for The Washington Post, another failure during his fatal mission would prove to have a much longer legacy. When Thornton was forced to dump about 200 pounds of cocaine by parachute over Georgia after realizing the load was too heavy for the aircraft, an American black bear got hold of one of the duffel bags of dispatched drugs and started eating the coke. Some text goes here: the bear got to it before we could, and he tore the duffel bag open, got him some cocaine and OD'd, Gary Garner, an official with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, said at the time, according to UPI. Cocaine Bear, a dark comedy that premieres Friday in theaters nationwide, is a highly fictionalized account, in which the titular 500-pound American black bear eats a duffel bag of cocaine and goes on a killing rampage in Georgia, forcing tourists to band together to survive an apex predator hopped up on coke. Inspired by the 1985 true story of a drug runner's plane crash, missing cocaine and the black bear that ate it. Jimmy Warden, who wrote the screenplay, told The Washington Post that while it was fun to reimagine the bear's story, he was initially drawn to Thornton and the circumstances surrounding his death, which resulted in what the screenwriter described as the perfect setup for the film. Long before he turned to drug smuggling and made a bear very famous, Thornton lived the high life. But Thornton's life took a turn after he dropped out of college for a second time in 1966. The ring was linked to a larger group called The Company, a syndicate running drugs and guns that authorities estimated in 1980 had more than 300 members and $26 million worth of boats and planes. Betty Ziering, Thornton's ex-wife, said at that time that Thornton believed he was an impeccable warrior, a term penned by mystical author Carlos Castaneda. In 1981, Thornton was among the 25 people accused of stealing weapons from the China Lake Naval Weapons Center and conspiring to smuggle 1,000 pounds of marijuana into the United States to be traded for drugs in Colombia, reported the Associated Press. 1985, Thornton hopped on a plane to Monteria, Colombia, for the smuggling mission of his life. Bill Leonard, his karate instructor turned bodyguard, later told the Knoxville News-Sentinel that Thornton had lied to him about flying to the Bahamas when they were actually picking up 400 kilograms of cocaine to smuggle into the United States. When Thornton was found with a broken neck after his parachute did not open, he had on him $4,500 in cash, 2 pistols, 2 knives, ropes, food and more than 70 pounds of cocaine, according to police. Some text goes here: I've never had a landing in my backyard before, Myers, then an 85-year-old retired engineer, told UPI. Leonard survived the landing and took a cab to meet up with Thornton's girlfriend, as Thornton had told him to do. But new questions arose months later, in December 1985, when a 3-sentence item in the New York Times reported that an American black bear in Georgia had overdosed on cocaine from Thornton's botched drug drop. Alonzo, Georgia's chief medical examiner, told reporters the bear was found in a very badly decomposed state at Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest, surrounded by several plastic bags that authorities estimated had held about 75 pounds of cocaine. Alonzo told UPI that the bear, which was about 3 or 4 years old, probably died within 30 to 45 minutes from acute cocaine intoxication, noting that the animal had suffered cerebral hemorrhaging, respiratory failure, hyperthermia, renal failure, heart failure and stroke. Some text goes here: the bear ingested substantial quantities of cocaine, Alonzo said, suggesting to the Associated Press that the bear did not come close to eating all 75 pounds of the drug that were in the area. Warden told the Post that the man ultimately responsible for Cocaine Bear is not featured after the first 10 minutes of the new movie. While Thornton's loved ones guessed that he would have been proud of his infamous end, he would have loved the concept of the warriors who fall from the sky, his ex-wife told the Post in 1985. Others didn't pay much mind to what Thornton might have thought in his final moments.